Welcome back. I haven't changed the cards on the table yet because I didn't take time to draw an additional card for the Hermit year. So before I turn the cards over and have a look, do a reflection on the wheel, I'm just going to draw the additional card and make a couple of comments on it in terms of the crone year and the 6th month reflection for the Hermit crone year. May this card deepen your understanding of your journey through 2023. Whether you are exploring your Virgo energy or your tarot card of the year as number 9, the Hermit. Let me show you. This is from Tarot, Le Tarot au Ramour Étrange, Tarot of the Strange Antlers or Strange Branches. This is a beautiful strength card where the figure is tapping into their reflection. Their reflection being of great strength. And I think that all we talked about in the last hour, this is a very apropos card. To know that this Hermit year, this Hermit journey is one that is only going to take you more courageously into self, into the journey of who you are towards finding a higher frequency and perhaps a courage with living in a higher frequency. Yeah. It's beautiful. I love the equally strong and vulnerable qualities of all of the cards in this deck, and I think it fits perfectly well to draw these cards during Cancer season. Okay, now I'm going to flip the cards, and this is a reading for those of you with the wheel as your card for 2023. And once again, I am reflecting on readings I did at the end of 2022. And I'm just going to go to my notes so I have the right cards on the table. So your fire card is the same. That doesn't change, nor does this card change. So again, we have a repeating card for the 4th time, for the 2nd time. The card here is the Bone Collector and a fork in the river. And we have 9 of coins, which is just beautiful if you look at the imagery in terms of the wheel. And then here we have another circle, the Sun of Feathers. And from the Tulku, your card is Swadhisthana Chakra. Very watery energy. And from the Shaman's Oracle, Hunter of Conflict. So we've had a lot of very challenging cards in sorry, I'm just putting these cards in the right piles. In the Shaman's Oracle. And this deck has been very, very important to me. I think this card, the way that this deck is designed, really is it's very accessible. You know, it connects to and sort of pokes gently at places that perhaps we haven't tapped into and provides support It's like each of these cards is a guide in a way, a guide to help you through what you're working through. So, hi Perry. So as a wheel year, this is a year that you've already probably felt, if you're resistant to change, that change is, and things are going to change no matter what you do. And the more that we learn to embrace change, the easier life becomes. Flow. It's another word that works beautifully here. Just works. Be in the flow of life. Be with movement. Everything. I think this, and I mentioned this when I did the readings in December, any kind of a practice that helps your body to move more easily if you're working through a wheel year is going to help with everything else. You want your body to move fluidly, and that might mean whatever that is, right? And that could also be internally. This could also be a year of focusing on your digestion, so your digestion moves fluidly. So there's this idea of motion in a wheel year, flow and ease of flow, and not resisting the flow of life, allowing life to flow, allowing life to change, looking at change as a gift. Change is a gift. And this is such a gorgeous card. Why don't we start with the poem for the wheel? This is the Margaret Peterson Tarot. Revolving, not standing still, no beginning, no end. Revolving, you cannot escape. Revolving, holding on to happiness, holding on to suffering, lost in the magnetic field of revolving. Round and round you go, wondering why nothing is resolved. When the blindness of love thaws, you regain your sight. Subtle shifts in orbit, you'll find the answer by the river. Because the river flows. Now, this is so very, very brilliant, because your Tulku oracle for this year is the Swadhisthana chakra. And this perhaps is the chakra that we don't want to be constipated. We want flow here. And I can look at this in so many different ways. And because I've talked about this card several times, and if you want to hear the description of this card in full, please go back to the first reading for today, which was the Chariot, because this card has been drawn for Chariot, Strength, Hermit, and Wheel. It just keeps appearing. So this daughter of water is one who, as I mentioned before, is comfortable in water because that is the element that she grew up in. Of course, all children grew up in the waters of their mothers, but she is the daughter of the mother of water and father of water. Her brother is the son of water. And so she's not afraid to explore water. And I think that's why this card is so very potent here. This flow of energy that is needed in a wheel year. Now, Swadhisthana chakra takes us into the E motion, right? E-motion, energy in motion. And when you think of E quotient, think of, rather than thinking of emotions as, I don't know what your definition of emotion is, but it's simply energy. It's energy that's moving. So however you name it, whether you name it with a positive attribute or a challenging attribute, it's simply energy moving. And it needs to move through us. It needs to move through us. So the more that we suppress it, the sicker we become. And so this is a year for you to allow emotion to flow, to allow energy to flow, to allow life to flow. This would be a beautiful, brilliant year to travel freely without too many plans and too much organization. This would be a brilliant year to spontaneously move. This would be a brilliant year to not resist the change of occupation, right? To not let yourself bump up against and resist change. This is a year that's going to test you, and you're already 6 months into it. So how is change testing you? Okay. The Bone Collector is a really interesting card, kind of beautiful. And again, we have another circle on this card, reflected sort of as a halo around this wise woman. And if you look closely, she's sitting in a sacred circle of stones, and there also is a pentagram underneath her. She is sitting on top of a pentagram that is connecting all sides of this sacred circle of stones. It's like she is the conduit for all the energy in this circle. Now, pentagram energy connects all of the elements. This is a card of that. You know, you are significant, you do matter, and every choice that you make matters. We also see a clock here. I mean, this whole reading just speaks wheel, change. And be mindful of measuring time. Time is an illusion. And things flow as they are meant to flow. They may not be on schedule. You know, and Perry's comments are so beautiful. And when I see this particular comment, one of the things that I'm reminded of is the flow of healing. The body has a natural ability to heal itself. Cells are naturally regenerated over a period of time. And change, that's part of change as well too. Healing is the way of being. And so we may find ourselves at a fork in the river. And think about this is not a fork in the road, it's a fork in the river. Swadhisthana chakra, water, emotions, energy, moving. We come to this crossroads, and no matter which way we decide to go, there is a powerful energetic response. And so how do we manage that? How do we manage that? Well, the daughter of water would say that we look, we examine our fears, we look at what we're afraid of, and we work with that, and we don't let that define us, because we know that if we sit with that fear long enough, on the other side of that, we'll find our freedom. There is always a promise of freedom in doing spiritual work. It's not going to be easy. And the secret is in not resisting. I tell you a story. It's not really a story, it's something that happened many times. I've been on this journey for a while, and you know, there's times where I reached out to my teacher And I was a bit whiny, much like a child having a temper tantrum. And I have the teacher I'm talking about is amazing. It's amazing. She just knows exactly where to guide me and what to say. But there are times where she would say things to me like, "Are you doing your practices?" And I would internally say, "No." Wouldn't say anything. And she would say, "Call me back when you're doing your practices." End of conversation. So the message here is that this flow, this wheel, this turning it's amplified by our abhyas. Abhyas is a Sanskrit term, like our commitment to our spiritual journey. Now we've come from 9, hermit, spiritual journey, to wheel. So it's like things are turning a little more. I feel like there's a bit more energy to this turn. Yeah, distractions, Perry, distractions. There's so many distractions. And yes, it's okay. We don't want to beat ourselves up if we go down a fork that we know we probably shouldn't have gone down. Fortunately, we can get out of our canoe and we can, what's the word where you take a canoe over land to get to water? It's hard work, but you can do that. I think it's in the recognizing that you've gone down the wrong path. And we go with the flow. We pick up the canoe and we get back on track because we're committed. We're committed to going forward. And we know that if we stay on that trajectory, we won't be going forward. And yes, Spirit could course correct for us, and there may be a tributary that takes us back to where we're supposed to be. Careful with the supposed tos. But we also have a choice. There's always free will to get us back to that place where we really felt closer to Spirit. Not forward. Oh, it's not forward. It'll come to me after I sign off. There's an actual word, so you pick up all your stuff, and in order to get from one part of the river to the next part of the river, you carry everything over land. That wasn't the word I was thinking of. Maybe it'll come to me later. Okay. So we have wheel, Daughter of Cups, fork in the river, bone collector. This is also a repeating card. I will come back to that. Water, Swadhisthana, hunter of conflict. So it's like we are fearlessly. This card is such a perfect marriage to the daughter of water. We're actually seeking out our inner conflict so that we can move through it. It's just an absolutely beautiful pairing of cards. Now I want to go here. This is the card I was alluding to that I wanted to talk to in the last reading. Because when I was doing this reading at the end of 2022, I was really in the mood of a more traditional meaning of the Son of Feathers, the Son of Swords, Knight of Swords. And earlier today, I was deep into Margaret Peterson's amazing little guidebook and reflecting on her interpretation of the Son of Swords that has a I don't know what deck I'm thinking of, but swords, the highest frequency of swords connected to, elevation of mental frequency, intellectual wisdom knowledge, transmuting to wisdom. And her description of this card is the son who knows how to meditate and explores his journey through meditation. And I want to read it to you because I'm paraphrasing it, doesn't do it justice. But there's this journey. Well, let me just read it to you because it's good. It's good stuff. Okay. My mother gave me a sharp sword to cut through fatal entanglements. My father gave me a compass and told me all about the winds from the east, south, west, and north. My sister gave me the courage to jump into the unknown. And I think all of that makes so much sense to me. My room is immaculate and painted snow white. Meditating in the lotus position, I move from beta to alpha rhythm. Slowly slowing down my pace, I move through history. I see an old warrior. So imagine this. You're meditating and I'm sure many of you have done this in your meditation, you encounter someone, and that someone is always you. And the Son of Swords encounters a warrior and sits and is observing this warrior in dream or in meditation. And this warrior is bathing in dragon's blood. So the warrior has slain a dragon and would be having some sort of spiritual communication, spiritual experience with this, because when I think about warriors of old, I think about the spiritual connection of the quests. Okay. I'm sorry about the music, it's my neighbor. Bathing in the dragon's blood, he thought himself invulnerable. So bathing in the dragon's blood, he would take on the energy of the dragon. But he died by the spear of his shadow while he was drinking from the spring. Now, this is a very powerful line. Whether in his arrogance, he thought he was invulnerable because he had bathed in the dragon's blood, and no other warrior could penetrate him with an arrow, or whether we're talking shadow and metaphor, and the shadow is the arrogance. I think it's a very mind-opening visualization to come through in a dream for a young person so deeply connected to swords. And understanding that this journey through arrogance, which is really, it's a very difficult thing for swordsy people to understand, to not put everything in, not to put all your cards in one basket, in the intelligence basket. seeing the hero was seeing the hero was robbed of his importance. So the hero lost his identity because he was killed. So I imagine this was quite devastating for this young person. And knowing I saw the image behind the imaged, breathing, I experienced things as they are, and for my true self condensed into one point, everything is equally valid. And slipping through the fine mesh of imagination, it dances unencumbered through space. You know, sometimes when you're meditating or you may be even daydreaming and you get these glimpses of things, I think it's really important to pay attention. And if you have the ability to just make a few notes, because there's a lot that can come through. And in these really brief visions, like these nuggets, little nuggets that help us to deepen our understanding. And so this paradox between, thinking we have overcome fear is highly dangerous. It's highly dangerous, and it's highly arrogant to think we have overcome it. And I want to take this beyond fear, but to understand that we never fully transcend Swadhisthana chakra. There's so much stuff in Swadhisthana chakra. And I've mentioned this before on the channel, so I'm sorry to repeat myself, but I think it's worthy of repeating, and that is monks of many, many different spiritual beliefs wear the colors of the sacral chakra because they know we need to keep coming back here to this place of fear and emotion and all of the stuff that lives in the second chakra. It's, we will journey on and we will transcend and start to purify Manipura chakra. And we will transcend the diaphragm and move into Anahat chakra. And we will come back and go back and forth, continuing to purify Swadhisthana. I don't think in this lifetime, you would have to be a pretty enlightened being to have completely transcended Swadhisthana chakra. There's so much karmic stuff there. And remember, this is the waters that you were birthed into this lifetime, through which you were birthed. So let's go back. Wheel, energy in motion. So to keep moving through these experiences of fear and arrogance. And I think if we take this story over here to a fork in the river, perhaps, we knew this was the right path to take. This was the right fork to take. And there's a part of us that, we go down the river and we think, oh, maybe I didn't. And then there's this other birdie on your other shoulder that's going, of course you took the right shoulder. You're smart, you know your way, you know how to navigate. And it's this wrestling with our, wisdom versus intellectual self. And I think that's where the bit of arrogance that comes in. Arrogance and egotistical impulses are harmful for our wholeness and health. And the word that's coming to me right now is listen. We must learn to listen. To listen. And that is why I think this family of feathers, mother, father, son, daughter of feathers, why they teach their children how to meditate. It's so that they have a tool to navigate The waters of the mind. The waters of the mind. Yeah. Now, the only other card that I haven't addressed is the one, well, I can come back to this as well too, because I talked about this in the last hour. But the 9 of coins. You see a figure in silhouette sitting in front of a stone, and there's a swirl of energy around this stone. And I think, as I mentioned when I did the reading in December, this is just an incredible connection here between these two cards. And I was drawn to sand. Hello there, Abundance. Welcome. I was just sort of drawn to meditations or sitting in a temple or a garden, in one of those sacred gardens that had been raked so carefully. It's a really peaceful place. But I think I'm going to read to you from Margaret, and then I will conclude this reflection. So the 9, and this is 9 of coins. If you think about a 9 of Pentacles, a favorite 9 of Pentacles card, there's a lot there, right? It's a card of richness and seeing the fruits of all of your hard work, abundance, and luxuriating in that abundance. 9s are, they're a beautiful number. They are a divine number. They are connected deeply to our spirituality. And so, right, the sacred garden, which kind of looks really nice here because I was talking about this card before, the sacred space, the power of sacred space. Meditate on a stone and you will have abundance in your life. Abundance and treasure are not apparent. They are hidden in the ordinary and commonplace. Everybody can partake in this abundance of life. Meditate on a stone and you will have abundance in life. If your thoughts are directed towards the unattainable or things that you don't have, you will experience scarcity, not abundance. A state of emptiness is the prerequisite for experiencing fullness. If you have ever fasted, you will know the intense taste of the first bite. It is said that all minerals are contained within any given stone. Round, unworked stones symbolize the feminine, and stones hide the treasure within. And through meditation, a stone will become soft and ready to reveal its treasure. Meditate on a stone and all will be revealed. And I think that's just a beautiful way to end this reading, because that is what's going to help you with change this year. I won't forget to draw your extra card. What's going to help you with change is learning how to meditate. Finding the peace. Finding the peace. Finding that frequency and learning how to shift more quickly from alpha to beta to gamma to delta. This is an extra card at the 6th month point to help guide and support the reading for the wheel card. I have a jumper, and I may speak to the jumper. I'm going to draw one as well too. And if this is your card for 2023, please go back and review the reading that I did in December. And hopefully this will help guide you smoothly through the rest of 2023. Okay. All right, so the jumper card was the 8 of Cups. Eight of Cups, which is a card of movement. It's a card of moving on through water, moving on through emotion. Kind of a perfect jumper card. It also has a symbol, right? The iconography matches so beautifully to the rest of the reading. And the card that I drew, it's the Hangman. But I think this is very much in support of what I was saying about meditation and the turning within when change becomes unbearable, when change becomes challenging. Turning within to gain a different perspective, to close off the distractions, to tame the distractions. Yeah. If you'd like me to comment more on any of these cards, please leave a comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you. And if there's any text that you would like typed in full, I'd also be happy to put those in the comments below if you don't have these decks at hand. Thank you so much for joining me on this revisiting of the Tarot Card of the Year readings for 2023. And I will be back over the next week to share the rest of them. Take good care and namaste. Thank you very much, Perry.